Welcome back to the Virtual Firearms Association. I'm Frank. We're in the virtual range today discussing what is the real reason people decide they want to become competent with their firearms. Let's discuss. Hey, before we get started, listen, those gifts are down in the description for you. First and foremost is the free downloadable printable targets. Download them, print them out, take them with you, go to the range, save yourself time and money. That's what we're trying to do here, so you will train more. Additionally, if you're looking to take your training, why not be able to do it right from the comfort of your own home? Download and take our free, completely free Basic Pistol and Marksmanship Course. This is a full course, a $100 course that we're just giving you. Completely free, no credit card or anything. Just go in, take it, you'll be all set. Now, why do people decide that they want to become more competent with a firearm? And I'm not sitting here talking about, oh, I have the most tactical gear or tactical gear, and I'm running and gunning and doing all this crazy stuff that these elite units are doing, such as SWAT or military special forces. No, I'm just talking most people, if they own a firearm, they want to be competent with it. And the way you become competent with any skill is by repetition and proper practice. Now, some will say, just go out there and shoot and shoot. And I'll say there is some merit to that, right? There's merit to becoming comfortable with, say, a firearm and recoil and understanding how your firearm operates. But we like to say this thing that's about, training scars and practicing bad habits. And you'll hear a lot of different instructors say that. One that I specifically liked from one of my instructors as I was coming through and becoming an instructor cadre was the fact that they said, hey, your goal is to write more good cards than bad cards. And you put all those cards in a filing cabinet. And then if adrenaline hits, right, a lot of people call this muscle memory, but if adrenaline hits or it's an emergency situation, you reach in, go back on those past experience, and you're more likely to pull out a good card than a bad card, right? And you're relying just on that experience, that muscle memory, or whatever nomenclature or terminology you want to call it. This is a concept that's always rung true to me. So a lot of times when I'm practicing live fire, or even when I'm doing virtual training, I'm out there, I'm making sure that trigger press, I'm punched out, that trigger press is nice and smooth, so I'm not moving the firearm, which is the number one reason why people miss. Caveat here is sometimes you got to be comfortable with, let me back up here. If you're uncomfortable with recoil, right? Going out there and experiencing recoil to the point where it's just more recoil and you stop flinching, that's a good way to do it. It could be an expensive way to do it if you're out there doing it with live fire and ammunition is expensive, but it's one concept and I'm not going to knock on that. If that's what it takes, there's a term here I'm looking for. Hang on. It's desensitization, right? Where you're becoming desensitized to the loud bang and to the recoil of firearm. I'm all for it. I can 100% stand behind you and say that's training. The other aspect of this, though, is the fact that while you are getting desensitized to the recoil, if you're going to be putting rounds down range and spending money, you might as well be getting double the amount of practice out of that and making sure that those rounds are going where you want to. So your money is going so much farther. Not only are you getting desensitized to recoil, but then you're also practicing your marksmanship. Now let's circle back to the beginning here. Why is all this important? Look what goes on in the world, all the way from all the conflicts we've had, both in the US and across seas, and look at all the conflicts that are currently going on in the world, issues with Ukraine and now Israel, and people coming into other people's homes and murdering entire families and discussing other things that's just not appropriate to talk about. But you can watch the news, you can see what's out there. And unfortunately, these individuals, whatever conflict, and there's a lot more going over the world than what's just in the news, these individuals sometimes are unable to protect themselves, whether that's because of government restrictions or that's because of being untrained. Now, the government restrictions, that's one that we're not going to discuss right now, but being untrained is one you can 100% do. It's one that we encourage. It's why we started the Virtual Firearms Association, so that you can train anywhere, anytime, with almost no money, right? All you need is your actual own firearm. If you don't own a firearm, you could get a cert pistol or a cert firearm, which is just a training firearm, and train that way. You could even get a dummy firearm or a training firearm, which is just a solid chunk of rubber or plastic to train with. Now, depending on the level of what you have, is the greater level of training you can receive. However, any training is better than none. Maybe you're just going to work on pieing a corner and mitigating the risk that you or your family would have if you're trying to get out of your home or evade a violent attacker in the home. Or maybe you're learning how the difference between concealment or cover and which one actually provides you protection, whereas which one is just hiding you. These concepts are things that you can do anytime, any place, in your backyard, in your home, wherever. Now, if you do it in your backyard and you got a lot of neighbors around and no fence, they're probably going to think you're going nuts a little bit with some of these. But however, it's entertaining to them and you're getting good training. So once again, it's a double win, right? I like to look at everything as a positive here. Take this to heart, right? Really take this deep down in your soul. With everything going on in the world, it behooves you to spend take 15 minutes a week. If you can't spare 15 minutes a week to just set up and do a little bit of practice and training, then you might think it's important. And I can't tell you how many times people contact me and say, Frank, what's going on in the world? What do I do? How do I protect myself? How do I protect my family? My answer to that is, that 15 minutes that you're spending watching or scrolling through your phone, right? And just looking at reels or just looking at other types of what's the term? It's a term the kids call it these days, doom scrolling, where you're not actually doing anything. We used to do that back in the day, back when you actually had to change channels on a TV. You just flip through the channels and they would, there's nothing on. You got 140 channels and there's nothing on. Really, you're just mentally checked out and you're just scrolling through channels. These are the type of things that are important to understand when you're going through and you're deciding, hey, I want to be proficient with a firearm. And if you can wrap your head around that and you can say, hey, no one wants to work out to stay healthy. No one wants to eat right to stay healthy, or you want to eat that cheat meal that day, however you do it, because it's the right thing. It's the same thing when it comes to your firearms. I'll get pretty definitive here. I don't think anyone should keep a firearm in their home if they're not going to train with it, or if they're not going to teach proper safety to everyone in their family, right? I mean, I'm not telling you to do it to a young child, but if you don't take the time to invest in it, then it's two things. One, it's an accident waiting to happen, or it's just a paperweight. So keep that in mind. A lot of things going on in the world today. You really have to take it to heart and decide, do you want to be the person that's prepared if something comes, and pray that it never does, because that's what we hope for, plan for the worst and then hope for the best? Or are you going to be the person that just prays it doesn't happen and then it happens to you or someone you love? And then ultimately it's either too late or that's your wake-up call when it costs something dear to you. I wouldn't want to be in that latter situation. To get you started, right down below is those free downloadable targets. Download them, print them out, do it all over again. Go to range, save yourself time and money. Additionally, if you're really looking to get your training kicked off, that's a free $100 course down there below it as well. Basic Pistol Marksmanship Course. It's going to show you how to handle your pistol. It's going to show you how to shoot properly. And it's also going to show you a lot of etiquette and a lot of basics that you need. Even if you're past basics or you feel that you're past basics, there's probably something in there for you to learn. And it's always open to keeping, or it's always best to stay open and keep your knowledge going. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.